The Bone Collector of Rome, Italy. July 27, 2007. Firefighters were called to extinguish a small brush fire near the Tiber River. At first, it looked routine, but hidden inside the burned reeds was something horrifying: a human skeleton. At least, that's what investigators believed. Because after forensic experts examined the remains, they discovered the skeleton didn't belong to one person. It belonged to 5 different people: 3 women, 2 men. Their bones had been carefully assembled into a single human body, and to this day, nobody knows who created it. This became known as the Bone Collector, Mystery of Rome. The discovery happened in the Magliana district of Rome, an area already infamous for dark criminal history and alleged mafia connections. Around 3:30 p.m., firefighters arrived near Via della Pescalia after reports of a fire spreading through dry brush near the riverbank. As the smoke cleared, investigators noticed something partially hidden beneath the charred reeds: human bones, some burned, some untouched. At first, police assumed they had discovered the remains of a missing pensioner named Libero Ricci. Beside the skeleton was a pouch containing Ricci's ID card and house keys. For investigators, the case seemed almost solved immediately. But they were about to uncover one of the strangest mysteries Italy had ever seen. Libero Ricci was 77 years old when he disappeared in 2003. He was a retired craftsman decorator who had reportedly worked on projects connected to the Vatican. Neighbors described him as quiet, routine-oriented, and unlikely to simply vanish. On October 31, 2003, Ricci left his apartment building near Via Rava around 10 in the morning, and then he disappeared without a trace. No witnesses, no phone calls, no explanation. For nearly 4 years, his family searched desperately for answers. So when authorities found a skeleton carrying his identification, many believed the mystery had finally ended. But forensic investigators soon noticed something disturbing. The clothes found on the skeleton did not match what Ricci had been wearing the day he vanished. And that was only the beginning. In 2010, investigators performed DNA testing on the skull found at the scene. Everyone expected confirmation that the remains belonged to Libero Ricci. Instead, the DNA came back negative. The skull belonged to a woman. Suddenly, the entire investigation changed. Police began testing the other bones individually. What they discovered shocked even experienced investigators. The skeleton had been assembled using remains from 5 separate people: 3 women, 2 men, all of different ages, all from different time periods. Some had died years apart. The bones belonged to a man between 40 and 50 years old. Another male victim, possibly dead since the late 1980s. A woman loosely related to Libero Ricci through maternal DNA. Another young woman between 20 and 35. And finally, a woman believed to have died sometime between 1995 and 2000. Whoever created the skeleton had carefully arranged every bone in anatomically correct position. No misplaced limbs, no random arrangement. Investigators concluded the person responsible likely had advanced anatomical knowledge, possibly a medical worker, a mortician, or someone experienced with human remains. And perhaps most disturbing of all, the bones appeared to have been placed there shortly before the fire started, meaning someone may have intentionally burned the area to destroy evidence. As news spread across Italy, theories exploded. Was this the work of a serial killer, a grave robber, a cult? Some investigators explored whether the bones had been stolen from cemeteries, but forensic testing found no zinc or coffin material on the remains. That theory collapsed quickly. Others suspected occult rituals or underground sects. the assembled skeleton almost looked ceremonial, but no evidence supported that either. Then came another chilling possibility. The Magliana district was once home to one of Italy's most notorious criminal organizations, the Banda della Magliana, a violent mafia-linked gang connected to kidnappings, murders, organized crime, and alleged Vatican scandals. Some speculated the skeleton could be connected to the gang's hidden crimes, but once again, the evidence didn't fully align, and the case drifted deeper into mystery. Years later, investigators revisited one particular disappearance, a Romanian-born woman named Magdalena Cindris. In 1995, Magdalena vanished under deeply suspicious circumstances. Her daughter returned home one day to discover something terrifying. A ladder stood in the middle of the room. A ceiling fan had been ripped down. A tie was wrapped around the fan blades, and blood-like fingerprints stained the walls. It looked like the aftermath of violence, or perhaps a staged suicide. But Magdalena's body was nowhere to be found, not in the apartment, not nearby. She had vanished completely, for decades. Nobody knew what happened to her. Then in 2024, investigators theorized that some of the bones from the assembled skeleton may belong to Magdalena, but no final confirmation has ever been announced publicly. And if true, it raises an even darker question. How did her remains become part of a skeleton assembled from multiple people? The strangest detail in this entire case isn't the fire, it isn't the missing people, and it isn't even the assembled skeleton itself, it's the precision. Every bone was placed exactly where it belonged in a human body. That means this wasn't random. Someone deliberately created it. Someone spent time arranging human remains carefully enough to fool investigators initially, and nobody knows why. Was it symbolic? A warning? An attempt to hide identities? Or was someone simply trying to create the perfect, untraceable body? Even today, the identities of most of the bones remain unknown. Libero Ricci was never found. Magdalena Cindris remains officially missing, and the so-called bone collector of Rome has never been identified. Some investigators believe the truth behind this case may still be hidden somewhere inside Rome's darker criminal history. Others think the answer died with whoever assembled the skeleton. But perhaps the most disturbing possibility is that the person responsible was never caught and may have done this before, or worse, may have done it again. Because somewhere in Italy, there could still be families searching for loved ones whose remains became part of one of the strangest crime scenes ever discovered. And after nearly 2 decades, the bone collector mystery remains unsolved.